For the majority of our time together in this past 26 days as of today, I've been trying to frame things around how you should build. I want to spend the last 2 days before we move on to the ultimate day, the ultimate showcase, day 28, in reframing how you think about building, right? And the biggest unlock that I've had on my mind was when I realized the today's session, right? Or the topic that I'm going to be talking about. So again, if you're watching the series and you just want the prompts, just want to see me build, today's lesson is not about that. Today's lesson, in all transparency, is all theory and just shifting your mindset towards distribution. A lot of you have by now learned how to build a bunch of things, but we've never talked about to think about what's actually going to be sellable, right? And what's actually something that the market wants to see, right? And one of the things that came to my mind that I've seen emerge as a successful pattern is this. When you build something that's good, or thinking about building something that's good, you should always think of how can this be something that I can replicate over and over, right? I think that the leverage really isn't in building more apps that are completely different from one another. It's building fewer models of apps that can become many. And what I mean by that is building templates, right? And I'm going to give you a couple of template ideas here, right? And some prompts that you can play along with today if this kind of sparks an idea in your mind as well. We all know there's a bunch of fitness influencers out there, right? So the way I think about it is this. I'm a builder. I don't have an existing audience. I do a little bit now thanks to you guys, but in general, I don't, right? I don't have millions of followers. So my biggest problem, my biggest bottleneck will always remain distribution. So the way I think about building is, how can I find a niche or a vertical or an industry where I can easily approach somebody that already has distribution, but most likely will not be technical enough or won't have enough time to devote their efforts into developing their builder skills, and try to partner up where I'm responsible for building, I'm responsible for maintenance, I'm responsible for anything technical, even support, right? And they're responsible for selling. How does this partnership work? What are the ratios, percentages? I have no idea, right? That's something that's negotiable, and you should test anything by all means. But I'm going to give you a couple of easy examples that I feel are super approachable. As I said, one is the fitness influencers. All of them probably want to have their own custom training program, or maybe they do, but they can't deliver it en masse or to all of their followers. Technically, they could do it through Instagram, but then that's very hard to monetize. What you could build is a mini app, a subscription-based app as a clone of, let's say, Better Me. I don't know if you've ever used that app or not. I've used it in the past. It's pretty good. There's a bunch of MyFitnessPal or similar apps that you can very easily rebuild in Lovable, but with the spin of customizing them for that particular influencer, right? Full branding, everything is ready to be plug and play. All that you would need is their videos, their persona, etc., right? The pitch would therefore change from, hey, I have this idea that I want to collaborate on, and become, here's what I built for you already, right? So you're delivering a complete product, which I think converts into a much easier yes. If you templatize it enough, you could expand your outreach to hundreds, maybe even thousands of different influencers, right? The second one that I think works pretty well is the podcast companion app. Same thing, people that have podcasts. Everybody has a podcast, but I think a bunch of them don't have a good way of bringing their audience into like an in-app experience where they would manage them in their own environment. You could easily scrape all of the videos, all the content, and build like a companion or whatever, right? I've done something similar for those of you that are following me for Lenny's podcast, for example. Shared it with him and he reshared it with his audience. And again, that got me a lot of followers, that got me a lot of eyeballs, right? I think that the way I see this is, it has a couple of different monetization opportunities that can arise from this, right? If you charge people, a fixed amount per certain customization and then land, 10 clients a month, that's maybe again, if we start with $500, that's 5,000, right? But, I think that what you want is a higher tier build, right? So that you can earn the same amount of money or more with less clients, or even better, establishing a partnership, right? So again, I can give you a couple of patterns or a couple of examples in here. If you go to the prompt section, we have fitness influencers, podcasters, coaches, local restaurants, whatever, right? All of these entities need some type of an app, and I bet that a bunch of them around you don't. They're easy to find. They're Googleable. They all have their physical locations. Physical businesses or online businesses, for that matter, like podcasts that you can identify, and all of their materials are very easy to find. And from there, I would have a core template built out. Then I would prompt Lovable to create a document that changes per each client, right? Some kind of a customization markdown. Like we've done this before. We've built PRDs. We went through this exercise. Now you're just doing it in a reverse order. You're finishing a build and then based off of a finished build, creating a customization plan, right? Then from there, you're trying to add demo content, right? Again, you can use this prompt or any other. The idea is that you show them how this will look like once it's live. And then finally, I've left you with a very simple cold outreach pitch. What I think is great about this is that your pitch is, again, not an idea. It's already built. You're giving them a link. You're telling them what this already has. And I think when people read it and when they see it, they will hopefully understand that you already put in the effort. And from there, hopefully you're going to get more replies than just having a cold outreach. Do you want me to do this for you when it's already been built and done? If you don't like the 4 niches that I gave you, you can use the resources to build your own target niche, or again, preload it with an example, right? I've used, again, these 4 just so that you can see my thinking process here, right? We're trying to find the target, then define certain patterns, right? Because most of these apps will have the same common features. In a booking system, all you need is like calendar, messaging, maybe chat system, payment processing, and then customizable items like testimonials, case studies, their brand voice and palette, their photos, their videos, whatever, right? And then that will just be a part of your summary for your template structure, right? And then you always want to aim for 80% same, 20% custom, right? It's a great ratio, right? And then you can actually calculate your leverage, really, and understand what's your effective hourly rate. I feel like the big thing here is that you build most of the architecture only once. So your initial investment is a little bit high, but if you're able to find a lot of clients that would potentially reuse this, you can just keep remixing, you update the domain, and you just keep going. Maybe a person watching this is a landscaper. Maybe a person watching this is a house builder, a plumber. It doesn't matter. I think blue collar industries are amazing for this because you understand the problem. All of them need invoicing features, booking features, client management systems that are custom built for plumbers, custom built for whatever. And yes, there are platforms out there that they can pay on a monthly fee, but you would build something that's fully customized and on brand for them, right? And there are hundreds, if not thousands of them across the globe or across your country or across the US for that matter, if that's an attractive market, that you could distribute this either as a one-time purchase plus a monthly maintenance fee, because all of them will need this maintained and will want to have more features developed, or establish it as a working partnership where you have an equity split or a revenue share, right? I think if the goal is, how do I monetize? How do I start doing this? I'd say this is the easiest way, really, from my point of view. And from my experience of talking with people, how they've actually had success in the past, right? I think when thinking about distribution, this is the most important step. You have to really understand where do these people hang out. Like if we talk about the coaches, right? Or influencers, they're going to be on Instagram, right? They're going to be on YouTube potentially already, right? Some professional coaches, for like executive coaches that like invest a lot in their marketing, are starting to reappear on LinkedIn. They're very easy to find because they're targeting you, right? As a person that is probably in tech or just tech interested, you may have seen their ads. So what I would do is I would actually build an app for these people and say, hey, why not make this as a part of your core offering, right? And I think there are probably a lot of communities that you can tap into to identify some of the key players as well, right? And then finally, I'd say, your input should be the prompt that you use to build stuff, the outreach message, right? Obviously, this is just a very, a blunt example. If you don't have a better version, just use what I've built here, right? And I think, the strategy is always about volume. There's something that's known as the sort of a rule of 100. Like I would at least send 100 messages, 100 emails, try 100 cold calls. That's about 300 outreaches. And if you really can't close anybody or find anyone that's interested in this, at that point, you may want to pivot to a different niche, or at some point as you go along, you're going to get some feedback. So you're going to reformulate your pitch, your pricing, etc. The goal, again, is really to make my lessons more actionable, right? As I said, we spend all of our time talking about building, talking about Lovable features, talking about how to make your apps mobile friendly, how to do databases. But I think what most of you want to know is like, how do I make money? When I learn how to do this, where should I start? And I think this is the easiest spot. Identify either an industry you're already a part of, which that would be ideal because you understand the problem solution. You know how to pitch yourself because you know what you would buy. So I would probably assume there's someone else like you that would like to buy the same thing. If not, just identify niches that are, again, easy to track, easy to see whether there's a distribution model and a distribution partner there, if anything. Like if they don't want to pay cash upfront, at least, build some kind of a revenue share model with them. And then, just execute with the intention of making your templates remixable and reusable, right? That is the key. You can do this exercise, just use the template finder, try to find your target niche. And then by the end of the the final step, you will have your build prompts, you will have a couple of examples of outreach messages, and your overall strategy of like, what can you expect to earn if this calculation is set as successful. And be conservative, really. I would definitely look at going with a lower estimate, like maybe, I don't know, 5 clients, 20 hours, you're going to get $5,000 in 6 months. That's fine. It earned you a rate of $170 per working hour, right? So I think that's already a start, and that's something. That's some kind of a leverage. I hope you at least started thinking about this a little bit differently. I would really love your feedback on this one, and tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you've seen better examples than this, right? I think we've learned a lot yesterday from Lucio about variations, right? And picking winners, right? And I think that's exactly why I wanted you to develop this skill before we talk about the skill of today, which is, if you can build the same app in multiple different styles, well, that means you can templatize it and customize it indefinitely. So all you need is one home run, and then you just got to ship it across 5, 10, 20, 30 different clients in order for this to scale for you. I'm rooting for you. I'm excited to see what you build. Keep shipping. See you tomorrow.